This is the second part of this communique from the Ann Arbor Youth Liberation that started in 1970. Ann Arbor Youth Liberation still believes that student unions must be built, but we know that we were too naive about it the first time around. During the 1972-73 school year, most efforts will go into Youth Rising, our citywide school underground paper. We will organize unions again after we have used the paper to build up the communication channels and the general consciousness of oppression necessary to make unions work. In the spring of 1972, we added electoral politics to our strategies. The local Human Rights Party, supporters of the Youth Liberation Movement, nominated 15-year-old comrade Sonia Yako, that's Y-A-C-O, to run on their slate for school board. Note, I know an ex-mayor who will support a youth to run for such an office. Email me. I don't know what I was talking about there. Okay. I'm running, quote, I'm running to prove a political point, unquote, said Sonia. Quote, the Board of Education controls the lives of students and therefore students should have a voice on the board, unquote. Her name was kept off the ballot by adult chauvinist election laws. Still, in the write-in campaign, she received over 1,300 votes, 8% of the total. What if young people had been able to vote? Youth Liberation has no incorporated chips. What? Has no incorporated independent press service and FPS news service. I don't know what that makes sense, but anyways, this is what CHIPS meant. Cooperative Highschool Independent Press Syndicate. And FPS is the news service. Most of the articles contained in this pamphlet come from FPS. John Saylor, S-C-H-A-L-L-E-R, the founder of CHIPS and FPS, wrote a piece explaining why he got started and how he joined up with Youth Liberation. We will destroy all the myths that are fed to young people to keep us powerless. We will stamp out the false idea that the adults in power really do know what is going on and are somehow acting in our best interests. Quote, we know there is a basic decision to make. Either we stay quiet and become part of the system of oppression, or we seize control of our lives, take risks, and struggle to build something new, unquote. Here's the 15-point declaration by Youth Liberation of Ann Arbor, which was called the 15 Points. The following is taken from a book whose title I don't have. It is mostly a list of 15 points that identified the manifesto of this independently organized youth liberation group that was nationally active through a periodical called FPS from 1970 to 1979. Or was it 1980? I'm not sure. 1. We want the power to determine our own destiny. 2. We want the immediate end of adult chauvinism. We believe ideas should be judged on their merit and people on their wisdom and kindness. Age in itself deserves no recognition. Adults who want to support youth struggle or quote unquote improve communication should allow their concern by providing concrete resources. Words alone are not enough. Age might once have led to wisdom, but the old have proved themselves unable to deal with present reality. If the human species is to survive, the young must take the lead. 3. We want full civil and human rights. We believe young people are necessary participants in democracy. We must have complete freedom of speech, press, assembly, and religion, and the right to vote. We believe that all people are created equal and are endowed with certain inalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. 4. We want the right to form our education according to our needs. We believe that compulsory education is a form of imprisonment and must be abolished immediately. Grades and all forms of tracking must end because they stimulate competition, divide us, and make us work for other people's ends. All discipline procedures must be decided democratically within the school community. No school staff should be hired or fired without the democratic consent of students and teachers. Students and the community must have the right to use school facilities whenever they feel it necessary. 5. We want the freedom to form into communal families. We believe that the nuclear family is not in the best interest of people involved. Young people are now considered property, to be molded in the image of their parents. Since we demand self-determination for our lives, this is intolerable. In communal families, children can grow up in the company of many people, both peers and adults. They can learn the cooperation of community rather than the oppression of ownership. Until communal families are a reality, some healthy provision must be made for young people whose present conditions of life force them to become cultural refugees. 6. We want the end of male chauvinism and sexism. We believe women must be free and equal. We recognize that sexism is all-pervasive and often subtle and demeans the humanity of everyone. All forms of sexual stereotyping must end. Macho must go. Abortions must be free and legal. We consider the women's movement our natural ally since both young people and women are systematically oppressed by male supremacist society. Now that's an interesting concept, the male supremacist society. That's a reduction if you think about it. I mean, it's looking at men in a system without seeing the system and how that system tools men as a class, I suppose. That's just my comment. 7. We want the opportunity to create an authentic culture with institutions of our own making. We believe Western culture is decadent, and we refuse to continue it in our lives. People's appearance must not affect their civil rights. All drugs must be legalized, as we see that it is not laws that govern people's use of drugs, but societal conditions. We hope to create a society in which people will not need death drugs. Our music and cultural gatherings must be allowed to flourish in peace. We must be set free to begin living in the new age and begin to accept a responsibility for developing the plans and examples of institutions that build joy, justice, and respect for life. 8. We want sexual self-determination. We believe all people must have the unhindered right to be heterosexual, homosexual, bisexual, or transsexual. 9. We want the end of class antagonism among young people. We believe that those in power cultivate elitism and class divisions among youth, which only serve to weaken us. The survival of young people of all classes and races is threatened by the few who run this world. We condemn academic tracking, honors, and all other class divisions imposed upon us. 10. We want the end of racism and colonialism in the United States and the world. We believe America is an imperialist country. America uses over 50% of the world's resources for less than 7% of the world's population. Racism in schools is severely damaging to students, particularly minority students. Students must eliminate racism and stop fighting each other. We must unite to fight the real enemy until we have education that meets the needs of all races. We support the liberation struggles of colonized people of all colors everywhere. I want to just comment there because the idea of, fighting the real enemy is really just a perpetuation of the alienated reality. Why call somebody an enemy? Why not think through the use of a word like that and come up with another way of speaking what, we want this liberation, but it's not at the expense of other human beings, We want to challenge their severe alienation, Another comment by me, anyway. All right, number 11. We want freedom for all unjustly imprisoned people. All young people in juvenile homes, training schools, detention centers, mental institutions, and other penal institutions for minors must be set free. They do not receive a fair trial before a jury of their peers, and the society they offended is itself criminal. Young people must never receive discriminatory treatment before the law, whether in the courtroom, going to a movie, buying alcohol, or leaving home. The military draft must be abolished and the military made democratic. Number 12. We want the right to be economically independent of adults. We believe we are entitled to work or to unemployment benefits. Child labor laws and extended schooling now force youth into the status of a dependent colony. 13. We want the right to live in harmony with nature. We believe that to survive we must have clean air to breathe, pure food to eat, water fit to drink, products built to last, free medical care, and an end to population growth. Life exists in balance and harmony, but greed and stupidity have now sent something disastrously out of balance with our environment, and Earth death seems certain. Each person must learn to live a sound psychological life, and all people together must change the economic structure of the world until the needs of the earth and its people are met. 14. We want to rehumanize existence. We believe that to do this we must recognize and deal with the invisible dictatorship of technocracy, or technocracy, I guess, and bureaucracy. We are the crown of creation, and we announce that it is not our destiny to become robot parts of the great machine. 15. We want to develop communication and solidarity with the young people of the world in our common struggle for freedom and peace. We believe national boundaries are artificial and must inevitably be abolished. In the new world, all resources and technology must be used for the benefit of all people. Youth will make the revolution. Youth will keep it young. And the ending text here is this. It is essential that we view the rights of children in a world perspective. While it is entirely fitting that we as Americans address ourselves in the first instance to the oppression and destruction of children in this country, we should not forget that the vast majority of the world's children live short and painful lives. To alleviate such conditions must be an unremitting concern and ultimate objective to any open-eyed commitment to children.